So this is the middle section of the yard. This is butterfly and hummingbird xeriscape, and it is almost completely done. It's 95% done. This is skyflower. It's way bigger than what I want, and I'm going to move this in October. Better time to move it. I've got about 5 of them here. A couple, 3 big ones and a couple small ones. So I'm going to move them and put something blue there. I'm thinking Plumbago. I want it to be red, white, and blue. This is a red and white sage, a hot lips variety. Salvia microphala. You can see the red and white on the same plant there. Another salvia, but this one's a little bit different. It's a canyon sage. So I'm gonna not put this up too high because the sun's right up there. It's August and it's really hot. This tree just snapped off. So these guys are getting a dose of sun. That tree was a 200-year-old walnut tree that went from 50 feet tall to 30 feet tall. So these guys are getting a dose of sun now that they haven't had. And they're salvias, but they're canyon salvias. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. We're gonna have to have that tree removed completely in a few years. And so this Pecos River Valley theme that I have here is going to go excellent. This is Mexican bush sage, and I tell you what, they're loving this sun. They were arguably not getting enough sun before. And so from their perspective, you know, you see the sun just coming into view right up here. They'd be in the shade right now. So they're getting another couple, 3 hours of sun. They're loving it. The Sago Palm is going to be the focal point of this garden as soon as I get rid of the skyflowers. In Austin, my skyflower is 4 feet tall right now in Austin. These guys are giant. They're 12 feet tall right now. So I want to just move them, put something better. This I really like. I've always liked Plumbago. I think it's underused here. Underutilized, I guess, in the South. Has these beautiful blue blooms. And I'm going to put it up here where the skyflowers come out so that I have a red, white, and blue theme going on up there. So there's going to be quite a few, I don't know, probably 7 Plumbagos up there. And so there'll be Plumbagos on either side and then sandwiched in. These guys will bloom in the fall. So yeah, very cool. This plant here, I just love this plant. In Austin, it didn't get enough water. It was very high maintenance. Here it's maintenance free. It's huge. I planted 3 here, and now I've bent over several branches, so now I've got like 11 plants here, and you can see that it is dense. There are no weeds growing in there. I'm eventually going to hedge this into a walkway, like really soon. It wasn't big enough to even worry about hedging it before, but eventually the walkway is going to come through here. There'll be no walkway here because I want this to be all Plumbago. The walkway will come here, and people can walk through the garden up here, and you can see the vincas. I leave these here because this house is in my family. It's been in my family since 1960, and my grandmother loved vincas, so there you have it. But this firecracker fern is really an all-star. My goodness, look at this. Hummingbirds love it. There are times where I sit out here, I'll get a chair and I'll put it right over there, and I'll sit out here and work, and they come right here. They love this. But you know what they love more than that? Flame acanthus. I put this here because it will attract all the hummingbirds when it's blooming. The hummingbirds just absolutely love it. Here you can see a little bit that's blooming right here. Flame acanthus. Flame acanthus gets about 4, maybe 5 feet tall, and then it flops over. It'll get like 6 feet wide. It'll have 6 foot long stems, but they'll flop over. You can see these were all cuttings I took from my garden. Well, these weren't getting that much sun, and you can kind of see the leaves right here. They're not really liking, oops, there we go. Let me zoom out. They're not really liking this. These leaves are not normal. This is a normal leaf for a flame acanthus, like that. You can see this one closed up. I think as soon as this, because they're right underneath the walnut tree, I think as soon as that opened up, these opened up. So they're full sun. They like no water, and so that's fantastic. This is a grass here. I kind of like the grass. It requires no mowing. It stays really short. It requires no care. That's my kind of grass. Yep. This is an abelia. I think it was here. Previous owners had it here, so if it lives, it lives. If it doesn't, whatevs. This is a cool cutting that is now, again, going to get a lot more sun, and it's ready for it. This is being invaded by a tropical sage. I have a lot of tropical sage. We'll just throw that guy over here. This is black and blue sage. Here's a black and blue right here. Black and blue sage is a cultivar. So if I actually grow it from seed, it won't come out this nice purple color. It'll come out blue, called majestic sage. So this cultivar, black and blue sage, comes from majestic sage. And yeah, I grew these all from 2 plants or 3 plants that I have at home. And so I'm just constantly bringing over cuttings and pinning down branches and bringing over cuttings. I want this whole area to be black and blue sage. I really like the look of it. And I think now that it gets more sun, now that it's not in the shade of the walnut tree, because right now it would be in the, well, maybe not right now, but most of the day it'd be in the shade of the walnut tree. I think they're going to have a lot more blooms here. This is my other superstar. Gosh, this guy is awesome. Tropical sage, Salvia Coccinea. So this tropical sage here is a butterfly and hummingbird magnet. I mean, they just love this stuff. You can see there the natural blooms. I don't know why it's kind of jerky there. It seems on my side I'm seeing it very wobbly. I don't know if you are too. But anyway, tropical sage looks really cool. And I've got a whole field of it here. So this is only its third, actually this is the 3rd year for the tropical sage. I planted 9 of them. Put that into perspective, there were 9. And so eventually, maybe by this summer, I'm gonna hedge them. So these will be hedged about 3 feet tall to create a mat. I just want something big enough to weed out or close out the weeds. But it's ideally for hummingbirds. These are allegedly, I think these were mislabeled. These are allegedly Rio Bravo Sages. I have a Rio Bravo Sage from a local nursery at home, and I trust that local nursery a lot more than I trust the big box store that I got these from. These are labeled Rio Bravo. They don't look like a Rio Bravo Sage. They look more like an Eldorado Sage, or a Silverado Sage. And there are 3 of them here. I really like them. And, you know, they're going to benefit from that branch. I mean, the branches that snapped off from that walnut tree were easily half the tree, and that's a 200-year-old walnut tree. So all this stuff's going to get a lot more sun. Tropical sage, azaleas, throw back to the previous owner. If they grow, they grow. If they don't, they don't, whatever. This is the look from the back.